Hello and very welcome everyone to this session of the Medieval History Part 8. And today's session we are going to discuss the topics that we have not covered so far in medieval history. We will see the type of things that happened in this era. We will see the type of question that could be asked from those particular things or those particular topics. So let's start our session and see what we need to learn. So before we start, the images, text and other materials used in our presentations are for educational purpose only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the same. The first one we have today is Shivaji, and we are going to discuss Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. And he was here from 627 to 680, and we will talk about him, and we will see that how he created this empire and how he rebelled the emperor of India at that time, the Mughal emperor. So let's see. So first of all, Shivneri Fort is where he was born. That was Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was born. His father name was Shahaji Bhosle, first served Ahmednagar's Nizam monarch, and he later joined the Bijapur. So basically, if we talk about um, Shivaji Maharaj, so Shivaji Maharaj was born in Shivneri Fort, and he was from a aristocrat family. His father was serving in Ahmednagar in Nizam's monarch, but later he joined the Bijapur after the Ahmednagar was annexed by the Aurangzeb. So basically, this was the story, and that is how the starting of the things of the earlier phase of Shivaji Maharaj was there. In 1637, he received the Jagir of Pune from his father. So basically, Shivaji Maharaj was at a mere age of 10, and his mother and his grandfather, that was Dadaji Konte. They were there and they were together living. And particularly, if we talk about Shahaji Bhosle, so Shahaji Bhosle was serving in Bijapur, and the family was there in Pune. And the Jagirdari of Pune was given to the um, Shivaji Maharaj, though Shivaji Maharaj was at a mere age of 10 only. So he was particularly, his regents became his mother, that was Jijabai, and his grandfather, that was Dadaji Khan. So these are the things happened during his early phase, and he got this Jagirdari of Pune. This is the place where he particularly put his interest into the things of administration and other things. And after getting the Jagirdari along with his mother, he went to meet the people of this area, and particularly when he met them, so he got to know that a lot of things are need to be reformed, and the lives of these people are in harsh conditions they are living, because the Mughal soldiers and Mughal army particularly keep on attacking on them. So first thing that Shivaji Maharaj did was to protect them from any kind of attack and to create this area into a cultivating land. So that was the first two things that Shivaji Maharaj did at that time. So he took the Torna fort at the age of 16, followed by numerous other forts. So basically, after he got this Jagirdari, so he started getting a lot of knowledge from his Dadaji Konte, and Dadaji Konte gave him all the guidance and all the things and all the type of um, things that he learned regarding the aristocracy and other things were taught by Dadaji Konte. After that, the first fort that he took or that he annexed was the Torna fort at the age of 16. Why he was doing that? Because he wanted to create a kind of a Swaraj at that time. That is the first time a particular person or a king or a rebellion was thinking about Swaraj or thinking about removing the Mughal empire from India. So that is why he started taking the ports of Bijapur that were under the control of Bijapur, and Bijapur is a kind of a state that worked for Mughal Empire. I think you are getting the point. So after that, they started. Shivaji Maharaj started taking the forts, and by the time he attained a particular age, he got the control of around 35 forts at that time. And at that time, Aurangzeb came to know about him, and now Aurangzeb wanted to deal with Shivaji Maharaj. So he created an independent Maratha kingdom with Raigad as its capital, as I was saying. So time after time, he was taking other forts as well under his control. And there was a time came when even the Bijapur asked his father, that is Shivaji Maharaj's father, to talk to Shivaji that you should all abandon all the forts to back to Bijapur. Otherwise, you have to face the wrath of Bijapur and as well as the Mughal Empire. So this kind of conditions happened and created at that time, but Shivaji Maharaj did not stop, and he created all these forts under him and started creating the empire. The most important thing is the people, the particular farmers that are working for him are also trained to be the soldiers. So basically, whatever army they had at that time, they are particularly working in two ways. Firstly, as farmers, and then as the soldier as well. And a very important thing is they were particularly trained in the very important warfare according to the terrain, that is the guerrilla warfare. So guerrilla warfare became the most important thing, because of which Shivaji Maharaj became successful. So he captured Javali from Chandra Rao More in 1656 at the Battle of Pratapgarh. In 1659, he killed Afzal Khan, Adil Shah's general. So, as I was already telling you, as the time passes, and now all the people of Bijapur or Mughal Empire, they came to know that there is some person, Shivaji Maharaj, who is taking the fort day by day and is taking the control. So they started dealing with him, firstly on attacking on him. So most of these attacks are basically in the jungle areas, and in those areas, particularly, the army of Shivaji Maharaj was less, but they know how to fight in these areas. That is why they were successful in the guerrilla warfare in these areas. Later, he also killed Afzal Khan. Afzal Khan was basically Adil Shah's general. Adil Shah, you can say that they were the Bijapur's general. Afzal Khan was a Bijapur general, and he was sent to do some negotiation. But in face of negotiation, it was a kind of a thing that he was there to kill Shivaji Maharaj. So particularly during this time when he wanted to kill Shivaji Maharaj, so he asked Shivaji Maharaj that come and hug me, and we start our friendship with a hug. So as soon as he asked or invited Shivaji Maharaj, so Shivaji Maharaj already knew that there is something fishy in this thing. So he already had a bagnak in his hand, and as soon as they hugged, uh, Afzal Khan started stabbing Shivaji Maharaj, and as soon as he got the first stab, Shivaji Maharaj just take out his bagnak and tear out the chest of Afzal Khan. So that is how Afzal Khan died in that particular time. So that also became a history, a particular story that was told to Bijapur as well as Aurangzeb and other people. And now they were all afraid that who is this Shivaji Maharaj and why he is becoming a particular worry thing for us. Then the Battle of Pawankhind, that is in 1660, saw a smaller Maratha force headed by Baji Prabhu Deshpande repel a greater opponent, allowing Shivaji to flee. So basically, do remember one thing, that when we are learning that Shivaji was fleeing from an area, from a battle, so that does not mean that there is any kind of a loss or defeat he faced. The point is that particularly when we are talking about him, so he was a particular person who is carrying a less number of army, less number of soldiers in his army, and they were all very tactful in the guerrilla warfare. So whenever they are fighting with the other kings, so they have large armies, and sometimes the particular general of the Maratha force has to fight, and Shivaji Maharaj was on the backside, because Shivaji Maharaj was the ideology at that time, and he needed to be saved. So that is why the Battle of Pawankhind, a particular force was headed by Baji Prabhu Deshpande. Do you remember this battle was fought in 1660? Then Shivaji was defeated by Shasta Khan, sent by Aurangzeb. Later, he made a bold attack on Shasta Khan's military camp at Pune in 1663 and wounded him. So, as I was saying, Shaista Khan was basically sent by Aurangzeb. Earlier, Afzal Khan was sent by Bijapur. Okay, now Shaista Khan was sent by Aurangzeb. Shaista Khan, you can also say the maternal uncle of Aurangzeb. So Aurangzeb sent him as a governor, as a subedar, you can say, and he came to defeat Shivaji Maharaj. He was successful in that. He basically defeated Shivaji Maharaj in face-to-face battle. But later, when Shaista Khan was resting in his palace in particularly in the Deccan, in Pune. So at that time, particularly Shivaji Maharaj, along with some of his officers and some of his uh, commanders, he entered into the palace and started attacking on Shaista Khan. During this attack, Shaista Khan lost some of his fingers when Shivaji Maharaj attacked on him, and Shaista Khan was able to flee. So after that, Aurangzeb came to know about all these. So Shaista Khan was basically deported to Bengal, and he became the Subedar of Bengal at that time. So that was all done, and now I hope you can understand that how much fear this particular incident created in the mind of Mughal Empire about the Shivaji Maharaj. So this is the kind of a thing that was starting at that time, that Shivaji Maharaj was creating an empire, and out of just one Jagirdari that he got of Pune in 1637, how he created this whole empire. Let's read further. So Treaty of Purandar, very important guys. Treaty of Purandar were two treaties of this name. One is between um, you can say Raja Jai Singh and Shivaji Maharaj. And another one is the Treaty of Purandar that happened in the late 18th century, that happened between Marathas and the Britishers. So we will talk about that later. So first of all, it was built between Raja Jai Singh under Aurangzeb and Shivaji Maharaj. So Raja Jai Singh was a Rajput ally of Aurangzeb, and Aurangzeb knew that fighting Shivaji Maharaj is easy for these Rajput rulers. So he sent the Rajput ruler Raja Jai Singh, and Raja Jai Singh, when arrived with a large army, he was able to take the control of Shivaji Maharaj at that time, and that is why Shivaji Maharaj was forced to do a treaty. So this was the only treaty that was against the will of Shivaji Maharaj at that time, because Shivaji Maharaj army was less in number, nothing else. So Shivaji Maharaj has to do this treaty, and after this treaty, he had to meet Aurangzeb. And under this treaty, all the forts that were annexed by Shivaji Maharaj, so out of them, around 75 to 80% of forts were particularly given back to the Aurangzeb, or you can say the Mughal Empire. Shivaji relinquished certain forts to the Mughals and traveled to Agra to see Aurangzeb, as I was saying. He defeated Mughals in the Battle of Salher, 1672. He was crowned and assumed the title of Maharaj Chhatrapati in 1674 at Raigad Fort. So, firstly, you need to understand this thing, that after submitting a number of forts back to Mughals, he was particularly also sent to meet Aurangzeb. So, and particularly Shivaji Maharaj arrived in Aurangzeb's court along with his son, that was Sambhaji Maharaj. So when they both arrived in the court of Aurangzeb, so they were mistreated, and they were particularly not given the respect that they were particularly should be given at that time. So Aurangzeb did not give that respect, and because of which Shivaji Maharaj was marching out of his court, and at that time they both were captured and they were imprisoned in one of the palace. And in that particular scenario, one night Shivaji Maharaj made a flee out of that palace and came back to the Deccan, and that is how Shivaji Maharaj uh, again started capturing the forts that were given back to the Mughals. So you must have seen the film that was Tanaji. So in Tanaji, you must have seen that Tanaji was particularly capturing a fort once again. So that is all because of this particular treaty that was signed in 1665. And one more thing, if we talk about, so he defeated the Mughals in the Battle of Salher, and now he is getting more and more forts. And now is the time, particularly in 1674, when Shivaji Maharaj declared himself independent and sovereign state of Maratha, independent from the Mughal Empire, and he declared himself a Chhatrapati Maharaj, and which means a particular king, and this is the title he coronated on himself. So in 1674 at Raigad Fort, this crown was given to him. So do remember this point. This is really important, and many times this has been asked that in which year Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was coronated. So that was in 1674. Now he died in 1680 at the age of 52. So basically, if we talk about the life of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, so it was a kind of a small age in which he attained and acquired lot of things, and he became Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. And very importantly, very significantly, he gave the ideology of Swaraj to a number of people. And after Shivaji Maharaj, they all worked toward this thing, that one thing that they wanted, or the one thing that they want, is the Swaraj, as they wanted to be independent. And that is why when you will see the decline of Mughal Empire, you will see the rise of Maratha. Okay, now let's read further. Now let's talk about his administration, that what type of administration he had. So he partitioned the country into 3 provinces. Provinces were further separated into prants, which were further subdivided into parganas or tarafs. So basically, provinces were also there in the administration of Mughals. In those Mughals, they were called as subas, but here, well, particularly, the provinces are further separated into prants, and they were further subdivided into parganas. So that is the administration, that is the classification of area in the Shivaji's administration. Now Shivaji's army and navy were well organized. The regular army was known as Paga, while the loose auxiliaries were known as Silhadars and were controlled by Havaldars. So basically, there are 2 type of armies at that time. As I already told you, that most of the army were involved in farming as well as in fighting. So some of them were made permanent after some time, and that were known as Paga, that is the regular army, while some loose auxiliaries, that means at the time of requirement, when a fight is going on, when a battle is going on, so all the farmers also get indulged into the army. So that loose auxiliaries were known as Silhadars and were controlled by the Havaldars. So their head was Havaldar. And salary in cash was paid to regular soldiers, though sometimes the chief received revenue grants as well, that is Saranjam. So these are the type of payouts that were given to the soldiers and their heads at that time. He was assisted by a council of ministers called Ashtapradhan Mandal. Each minister was directly responsible to Shivaji. This is the most important thing. Always remember, Ashtapradhan, this can be directly asked in the exams, that Ashtapradhan is related to whom? So that is related to the Maratha Empire, and they are directly created by Shivaji Maharaj, and they are directly responsible to Shivaji Maharaj. So here you can see, here is Shivaji Maharaj, and he got coronated, remember, in 1674 at Raigad Fort, and he particularly gave this ideology of Swaraj at that time. Also remember one more point about him, that he was also known as the father of Indian Navy, because the only weakness at that time Mughals had, that was that Mughals did not work on navy, did not work on creating their own navy, but Shivaji Maharaj was futuristic, and he take a look at what is the requirement of the time, or at that particular time, which made Britishers successful in this country, and that was navy. So that is why he started creating his own navy at that time. Let's now read further about him. So Ashtapradhan Mandal we need to talk about. So if we talk about the Ashtapradhan Mandal, so let's see that what are the ministers and what are their functions. So first one is the Peshwa, very important guys. Peshwa will become a very important post as soon as the Sahuji became the Chhatrapati and Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt became the Peshwa. And after Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt, his son Bajirao first became the Peshwa. At that particular time, Peshwa post became very important. So that is why this point is written here. So Peshwa means Mukhya Pradhan, or you can directly call him the Prime Minister. And he was responsible for finance and general administration, and later became the Prime Minister. After that, Senapati, that is Sare Naubat, military commander. He was, and he was basically the general and named as Senapati. Also, another name is Sare Naubat. Then Majumdar or Amatya. Amatya is also the name that was famous during the Mauryan eras also. And always remember that Amatya or Majumdar is responsible for accountant general. Okay. Then Wake Naviz, that is Mantri, was basically the intelligence, post and household affairs. And then Sachiv, that is Sur Navis, he was a correspondent. Then the Bir, that is Sumant, was basically the foreign minister and master of ceremonies. Then Nyadhish, it is easy. It is called a justice, called for justice. And Pandit Rao, that is Sadar. So that is basically the high priest managing internal religious matters. So these are the names of the 8 ministers at that time, and together they are called Ashtu Pradhan. Now let's talk about the type of revenue system in that era. So Shivaji's income system was modeled on that of Ahmednagar's Malik Ambar. So basically, Shivaji Maharaj adopted the system of Malik Ambar, who was a famous aristocrat of Ahmednagar Sultanate. And from that system, Shivaji Maharaj created his own income system. Kathi, a measuring rod, was used to measure the land. So in every system, you will see that there are particular type of land measurement system. Like if you talk about Sikandar Lodi, so Sikandar Lodi created a system that was called Gaje Sikandari. If we talk about Akbar, so Akbar created the land measurement system and land analyzing system that was known as Aine Dehshala or Japti system. And if we talk about the Maratha Empire, so they created a rod that is called Kathi, and Kathi is used to measure the land. So these are the reference they used at that time. And after that, revenue farming has been discouraged. So basically, the farming revenue was discouraged by Shivaji Maharaj because he thought that it would be very harsh to get any kind of taxes on the farmers who are already poor. So that is why revenue farming was discouraged. So the most important word of revenue from in Shivaji Maharaj or Maratha Empire was Chauth. Always remember this. So this question could be asked directly that Chauth is a type of a tax that was introduced by. So that was introduced by Maratha Empire. Let's read about it. So 1/4 of land revenue paid to Marathas to avoid Maratha raid. So this is the most important way to get revenue in the Maratha Empire. So as I already told you that Marathas were very tactical in the guerrilla warfare, and they particularly raid any area and they will particularly kill or defeat the king, and then they will ask the king that you should submit the chauth to us, and if you will not submit it, then we will raid once again. So this is the type of system Shivaji Maharaj created at that time. So neighboring states, whichever neighboring states are afraid of them, they always submit a chauth. That means 1/4 of the land revenue to the Maratha Empire. And this remained a very important revenue system for the Maratha Empire for a very long time. Then Sardesh Mukhi was additional levy of 10%. So another 10% tax was there, and that is of Sardesh Mukhi, that is known as Sardesh Mukhi. And that is 1/10 of the standard land revenue on those lands on which the Maratha claimed hereditary rights. So this is another type of revenue that was generated by different type of tax. So basically 25% was coming from a kind of a raid. Okay, so if the one did not want Marathas to raid his territory, then he will submit the chauth. Another one is that 10% of the land revenue they should submit to the Marathas, and Maratha claimed hereditary rights. So basically, those particular areas which are on the hereditary basis claimed by the Marathas are placed with this land revenue system. That is the 1/10 of the land revenue, and that is called Sardesh Mukhi. Reduce the power of existing Deshmukhs and Kulkarnis. So before Shivaji Maharaj gained power, So certain number of people were ruling in these areas, in the Deccan area and the Pune and other areas, and they were the Deshmukhs and the Kulkarnis. So after Shivaji Maharaj gained power, so he particularly uh, abolished them and their powers were perished. Appointed own revenue officers called Karkoons. So these are basically Deshmukhs and Kulkarnis were kind of revenue officers, and now he particularly introduced another revenue officer that was called Karkoon. So this is the type of system created by Shivaji Maharaj. Now let's talk about another Chhatrapati, and that was famously known as Sambhaji Maharaj. And soon a film will be there based on him. That is called Chhawa. You must see that film. Let's read about Sambhaji Maharaj, and he was from 1680 to 1689. So first one is that Sambhaji was Shivaji Maharaj's son, and according to the Treaty of Purandar, a Mughal Mansabdar. So I hope you remember the Treaty of Purandar happened in 1665, and in that treaty, the Sambhaji Maharaj was given a Mansabdari of 5,000 by Aurangzeb, and that was basically at that time he became the Mansabdar of Mughals. So Shivaji Maharaj was also have to be granted a Mansabdari, but Shivaji Maharaj said that I don't want to become any kind of Mansabdar or any kind of officer for you, and if you want, you can give it to my son. So at that time, Sambhaji was made a Mughal Mansabdar. The continuing conflicts between the Maratha kingdom and the Mughal Empire, as well as other nearby kingdoms such as Siddhis, Mysore, and the Portuguese in Goa, impacted his rule significantly. So there was a time after Shivaji Maharaj, as Shivaji Maharaj basically gone away in 1680, and after that a kind of a conflict also started in between the Marathas that who will become the next Chhatrapati. So after some conflict, Sambhaji Maharaj finally came back to the throne, and he replaced the his step brother from the post. And Sambhaji Maharaj controlled this area, but particularly there were a lot of people who were waiting that if Shivaji Maharaj will be gone, we will try to attack Marathas, thinking that the other Chhatrapatis will not be that much strong. But they were all wrong. Sambhaji Maharaj was one of the most furious and the most uh, important Chhatrapati after Shivaji Maharaj, who particularly very importantly and very strongly controlled the things in the Maratha Empire. In 1687, at the Battle of Vai, he defeated Mughal forces. You can see that he was none other, no particular back than his father, and he particularly controlled each and everything very efficiently, and that is why he was able to defeat the Mughal forces. And at that time, also, Aurangzeb was the king. I hope you remember that. And in 1689, Sambhaji was captured, tortured, and executed by the Mughals. So this was a sad story and the end of Sambhaji Maharaj, that he was basically captured, and that too when a large number of force attacked on Sambhaji Maharaj, but he was betrayed also. And Sambhaji Maharaj was captured and tortured and executed by the Mughals in the Ahmednagar area. And one point that I can add here, that because of the work of Sambhaji Maharaj, Aurangzeb finally arrived in Ahmednagar. Ahmednagar became the capital of Aurangzeb, and this was the time after which Aurangzeb never went back to the north side. And you can understand that how much impact Sambhaji Maharaj created at that time, that Aurangzeb needed to come towards south. On the other side, he was succeeded by his brother Raja Ram I, as I was saying. So he was a step brother. So there was a kind of a dispute arises in 1680, and that is why there was a dispute, because of which Raja Ram was replaced, and now Sambhaji Maharaj became the next Chhatrapati. Now let's talk about Chhatrapati Sahu, and he was the Chhatrapati from 1707 to 1749. And under Chhatrapati Sahu was the time when Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt was the Peshwa, and after him, his son, that was Bajirao first, became the Peshwa. Let's read about them. So during Sahu's reign, the Peshwas rose to power, reducing the Bhosle's family to the status of mere figureheads. So basically, let me tell you this story all about. So Sahuji was basically captured as soon as Sambhaji Maharaj was captured and tortured and executed. And Sahuji Maharaj was basically captured and put in under the observation of Mughals. But the thing is that Sahuji Maharaj was never forced to convert into Islam. And also he was given every education that could be given at that time. So basically, he was a kind of a person who was captured by Aurangzeb as a kind of a thing that Maratha will not do anything against Mughals. So that is the kind of a scenario at that time. But as soon as Aurangzeb died, so the Mughal king, like Bahadur Shah first, he knew that now Marathas will try to empower the Mughal Empire. So what he did was he released Sahuji Maharaj on a purpose that Sahuji Maharaj will be released and there will be a kind of a civil war happen in the Maratha Empire that who will become the next Chhatrapati. But that thing was managed successfully, and the special significant role that was played by Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt, and that is how Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt became a very important player or very important part of the Maratha Empire, and he became the Peshwa. And that is why this point is written here that Peshwa rose to power, and the Bhosle family, that means the family of Chhatrapati, they became only a figureheads and nothing more than that. By the time of Raja Ram II and Ram Raja, the power of Chhatrapati was almost overshadowed by that of Peshwa, as I was saying. So now is the time coming when Peshwa will become more important. So whenever you will see a film based on Maratha Empire, you will always see that Peshwas are more important. But only the first two or three Chhatrapatis are really important. Like Shivaji Maharaj was the first, then the Sambhaji Maharaj, and after that, sometime the Peshwa became more important. Now, as I was saying, let's talk about Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt. And he was the first Peshwa, not a kind of a first Peshwa, but the first Peshwa who was more powerful than Chhatrapati. That is why this point is written first Peshwa. And if we talk about him, so he was the Peshwa from 1713 to 1720. So he started his career as a small revenue official. He was given the title of Sena Karte in 1708 by Sahu because he played a crucial role in placing Sahuji Maharaj as Chhatrapati. He became a Peshwa in 1713 and made the post most important and powerful as well as hereditary. So after Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt, this post became a hereditary post that the family of Bhatt, Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt, got the post of Peshwa only. Because after him, his son became the Peshwa, that was Bajirao first. And when Bajirao first became the Peshwa, so he was also a very strong Peshwa. He never got a defeat during any kind of war happened in his lifetime. And that was the scenario because of which after him, the Peshwa post remained with this family, that is the Bhatt family. Now let's talk about the Maratha Confederacy, that is from 1720 to 1818. So what is all about Maratha Confederacy? So basically after some time, especially after the third battle of Panipat, that was in 1761, these confederations became more important. But let's talk about them. So Bajirao first one, and 1720 to 1740, he was the son of Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt. Let's talk about him. So Balaji Vishwanath succeeded under him. Maratha strength reached its pinnacle. So Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt and his son Bajirao first. Bajirao first was majorly more important. Why? Because Bajirao first was the one who became the Peshwa, and when he became the Peshwa, he particularly ruled for almost 20 years. And in those 20 years, not even a single war was lost by the Maratha Empire. And that was a short life he lived, but in that short life he created this empire and expanded this empire till towards north. After Shivaji, he was one of the most prominent exponents of guerrilla warfare. This is also another point that Shivaji Maharaj was the one who created and who trained all the people in this warfare. But after him, now Bajirao first was the one who became more prominent during the under the guerrilla warfare thing. Initiated the system of confederacy. Thus, many families became prominent and established their authority. So, some of the families at that time also they were becoming powerful, like the Holkars, Sindhyas, Gaikwads, and later after the third battle of Panipat, they all particularly controlled their own regions and becoming a confederation under the Maratha. In the Battle of Vasai, 1733, he seized Salsette and Bassein from the Portuguese. In 1737, he conquered Nizam ul Mulk and signed the Treaty of Durai Sarai. So that was all done, and these are some of the battles that were fought by Bajirao first. And basically, he was also able to take the control of the Nizam of Hyderabad. As you can see that in 1737, he conquered Nizam ul Mulk and made him to sign a treaty of Durai Sarai. That was signed because Bajirao was going towards north. That means he was going to fight with the northern empires like the Mughal Empire and others. And during that time, he wanted Nizam ul Mulk to remain silent and do not attack on the Maratha campaigns and Maratha camps in the south. So that is why this treaty was important, and that was done by Bajirao first against the Nizam ul Mulk. His several expeditions in the north weakened the Mughals and made Maratha supreme power in India, as I was saying. He said about Mughals, let us strike at the trunk of the withering tree and the branches will fall off themselves. So this is the most important thing that was said at that time, and it is used in films. And do remember that this quote has been asked in exams as well, that who said these words. So that is all said about Mughals by the Bajirao first. So that was Bajirao first, and I hope you are able to understand his strategy and his success. Let's read further. So there are the 5 confederations we need to know about. The confederations we need to know about. So we can see that Sindhyas were in Gwalior, and Holkar were in Indore. Pawar were in Dhar. Pawar were not became very important later. And apart from that, Gaikwad were also very important. Baroda. Bhosle were in Nagpur, and Peshwa were in Pune. So most important 5 confederations out of all of them were the Sindhya, Holkar, Gaikwad, Bhosle and Peshwa. Bhosles were the same who were called Chhatrapati. So that is another thing. So do remember all these confederations at that time. Then comes the Balaji Bajirao first, and Nana, also known as Nana Sahib first. And he was the Peshwa from 1740 to 1761. And let's read about him. So Nawab of Bengal, Alivardi Khan, was defeated in 1751, and the Maratha Empire gained control of 1/3 of the Indian subcontinent. So basically, if we talk about the time when after Bajirao first also, so after Bajirao first, and Bajirao gave a lot of strategies and lot of things to the Maratha. That after Bajirao first, the juggernaut of Maratha was not able to be controlled by anyone. So you can see that the Nawab of Bengal, that was Alivardi Khan, was even defeated by the Marathas. And now is the time when the Marathas were controlling around 1/3 part of the Indian subcontinent and getting a lot of Chauth and Sardesh Mukhi from different particular regions at that time. So another thing is they all signed agreement with Ahmad Shah, that is the Mughal emperor. So Peshwas assured to protect the Mughal from internal and external enemies in return for the Chauth of northwest provinces, total revenue of Agra and Ajmer provinces. So you can clearly see that after Aurangzeb, all the kings, all the Mughal kings that were particularly placed on the throne, they were all they were all particularly more falling towards getting a pension or something than controlling the things themselves. So that is why you can see that as soon as Farooq Shah became the king, he also gave a dastak to the Britishers so that Britishers will give him a particular money and they will take care of all the things. Later, you can see about Ahmad Shah also, that he gave the particular thing to the Peshwas, to the Marathas, that he will provide them chauth regarding the northwest provinces, and that out of the total revenue of Agra and Ajmer provinces. And in respect of that, the Marathas will take care of the enemies of the Mughal Empire internally and externally. So these type of things started happening, and that is why Mughal Empire became a puppet at that time. Then the defeat of Ahmad Shah Durrani in the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761 halted the Marathas' advance and split the empire. So basically, if we talk about the Third Battle of Panipat, so in this battle, though Ahmad Shah Abdali was the king of Durrani Empire, that was an Afghan empire, and he defeated the Marathas because Marathas were not stopping at any point. They have reached the point called Attock, and Attock today is found in the Pakistan region, and that is parallel to the Jammu Kashmir region. So I think you can understand that at what pinnacle point the Marathas have reached. So as soon as they have reached there, and they also defeated one of the son of Ahmad Shah Abdali or Ahmad Shah Durrani. So after that, Ahmad Shah Abdali came forward and asked the Marathas to remain south of Narmada and left the northern part of India for him. But Marathas were not giving anything. So the third battle of Panipat was fought in 1761 under the guidance of Vishwas Rao and Sadashiv Rao. He and his son Vishwas Rao were killed at the Battle of Panipat. So basically, if we talk about Balaji Bajirao first, so he was not present in the battle. He was particularly in the Maratha Empire only in the south. And when he got the news that they have lost the third battle of Panipat, so after that he got a heart attack and he died. So two warriors that who fought the third battle of Panipat from the Marathas were Sadashiv Rao. Sadashiv Rao was the leader of that battle, and Vishwas Rao was the son of Balaji Bajirao, that was the Peshwa. After that, Madhav Rao, Narayan Rao, Savai Madhav Rao, and Bajirao II succeeded him. So let me tell you another story that Balaji Bajirao first also had a brother that was known as Raghunath Rao. And Raghunath Rao, after the death of Balaji Bajirao, he was thinking that he will be the next Peshwa, but that was not the truth. So after Balaji Bajirao, his son, another son, Madhav Rao, he became the king, and Narayan Rao, he became the king. Narayan Rao was the one who was killed by Raghunath Rao, and now after Raghunath Rao killed Narayan Rao, so Raghunath Rao was thinking that he would be the next Peshwa, but at that time Nana Fadnavis was particularly the person who was controlling the Peshwa thing in the Maratha Empire, and he put Savai Madhav Rao on the post. And that is why Raghunath Rao went to the Britishers and asked them for help, and that is why the first Anglo-Maratha War happened. Then the last, if we talk about, was Bajirao II. Bajirao II was also that Peshwa who went to the Britishers for help, and he signed a subsidiary alliance with the Britishers. So that was a basic story of all the Peshwas after the Balaji Bajirao. Let's read about the Anglo-Maratha Wars. So there were three wars fought between the Maratha Empire and the British East India Company over territory. The first Anglo-Maratha War stemmed from a power struggle between Savai Madhav Rao and Raghunath Rao, as I was saying, which was supported by the British. So as I told you earlier that Raghunath Rao killed Narayan Rao, and as soon as Narayan Rao was killed, so Raghunath Rao was thinking now he will be the Peshwa. But Narayan Rao's wife was pregnant with the Madhav Rao, Savai Madhav Rao, and Nana Fadnavis intervened, and he particularly put Savai Madhav Rao on the post of Peshwa, and Raghunath Rao became so envious of all these people that he went to meet the Britishers for help, and Britishers, even the General Governor of Bombay, even promised Raghunath Rao to help becoming the Peshwa. And during that time, the first Anglo-Maratha War happened. And at that time, the Treaty of Salbai in May 1782, that was British acknowledged Madhav Rao as the Peshwa of Maratha Empire. and ended the Anglo-Maratha War. And during this time only, 1775, another Treaty of Purandar was also signed between the Maratha and the Britishers. So the two treaties are important under the First Anglo-Maratha War. The most important one is the Treaty of Salbai. Then Second Anglo-Maratha War, 1803 to 1805. So Second War began in 1802 basically. The fight started in 1803, but the reason came in 1802 with Peshwa Bajirao II defeated by the Holkar, one of the prominent Maratha clans, and his acceptance of a subsidiary alliance, that is the Treaty of Basai in 1802. So as I told you earlier also, so Bajirao II, he went to the Britishers asking for help, and he signed the Treaty of Subsidiary Alliance. You already know the Subsidiary Alliance, I guess. Subsidiary Alliance was a kind of a treaty in which the king was made the puppet of Britishers. So he signed the Subsidiary Alliance, and after that, the Britishers started taking the wars in behalf of the Peshwa and help him against all the other type of confederation. So unhappy Maratha Confederacy challenged the British power but got defeated. So by the end of 1805, by the end of Second Anglo-Maratha War, Britishers were able to control the most of the confederations of the most, or we can say the all the confederations of Marathas, and that is how they took the control of the Marathas. After that, the Third Anglo-Maratha War happened, and Third Anglo-Maratha War was basically happened from 1817 to 1818. Distressed by low income, I mean Pindaris, a caste-based society, began looting surrounding lands, even those of corporations. So Pindaris were a particular caste-based society, a kind of a tribe people, and they were so envy of Britishers because of low income that they started looting the surrounding lands, and because of which a kind of a suppression was started. And later Pindaris were joined by some confederations like Peshwa and other, so that they can regain their power, but all went into vain, and because of which in the Third Anglo-Maratha War, finally the Marathas again lost, and Peshwa was displaced from his position of being of being from Deccan towards south, and he was settled in Bithur near Kanpur, and that is the place where the last Peshwa uh, breath his last breath. So let's read further. So Lord Hastings, Governor General, charged Marathas with giving shelters to the Pindaris, and hence fought war. So this was the thing happened, and Maratha warlords fought separately instead of forming a common front, and they surrendered one by. So that is how the Marathas were defeated by the Britishers, and after this, Marathas were also made pensioners only, and later they all became the ally of Britishers. End of Maratha Kingdom. The Maratha Empire was destroyed in the Third Anglo-Maratha War. The British captured all of the Maratha kingdoms. The Peshwa was ultimately apprehended and imprisoned on a tiny estate near Kanpur called Bithur. The Maharaja of Satara was restored as the ruler of his territory as a princely state. Most of his territory was annexed and became part of the Bombay Presidency. As I was saying, that most of the kings of that time or princely states of that time or confederations were becoming ally of the Britishers. In 1848, this territory was also annexed under the doctrine of lapse policy of Lord Dalhousie. We already know that Satara was the first place that was annexed under the doctrine of lapse. War of Succession. There ensued a war of succession after the death of Shivaji between his sons Sambhaji and Rajaram. Sambhaji emerged victorious, but later he was captured and executed by the Mughals, and significantly by the Aurangzeb. Rajaram succeeded the throne, but the Mughals made him to flee to the Ginji fort. So that all happened at the time when the war of succession was going between Rajaram and Sambhaji Maharaj. So that is all about the Maratha Empire so far. Let's read further. Now let's read about the political structure and division within. So another factor for the Maratha Empire's demise was its own structure. It was a confederacy in which authority was divided among the leader or sardars, Bhosle, Holkar, Gaikwad, Peshwa. So that is how the powers were divided, and especially after 1761, all these powers are ruling on behalf of themselves. and later the dispute would keep on rising in between them, and that became finally the reason that is in 1802 the Bajirao II, the Peshwa went towards the Britishers and asked them for help against the Confederation. So the only thing that we can learn from this thing is if you have a dispute with your own, then solve it within. Don't go for outside help. So that is the thing that you can learn from Bajirao II. So then comes the weak revenue administration, and let's see about it also. So Marathas depended on the collection of Chauth and Sardeshmukhi and on their exploits from plunder and loot. They failed to create an efficient revenue management system. New regions were captured, but the administration received far less attention. Rulers were mainly interested in raising revenue from peasantry through taxation. So basically, at the starting of the Maratha Empire, we know that they were taking the collections from Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. But if we talk about another one, but so if we talk about the Sardeshmukhi and Chauth, so they were basically on their exploits from the plunder and loot. So these type of revenues were basically at that time that were getting by the Marathas. So they failed to create an efficient revenue management system. And as soon as new regions were captured, so they were basically having more taxations on them so that they can get the more revenue. So that also became later one of the reasons that why Maratha kingdom failed. Then weak diplomacy. So Marathas did not bother to investigate what was going on abroad or what their opponents were up to. There was no visionary leadership or good plan. They failed to cultivate alliances with forces around them. So that also became one of the reasons, as most of the further Peshwas and kings and confederations, they were not looking futuristic and they were only talking about and remaining in their own and thinking that they would be saved by themselves. So that is also one of the reasons. Anglo-Maratha wars and subsidiary alliance. This became the most important reason. So by accepting the Treaty of Basai in 1802, Peshwa Bajirao II accepted a subsidiary alliance. This was the end of the Maratha Empire. By 1818, the Maratha authority had been decimated and the major rulers who presented it in central India had bought and accepted the East India Company's overlordship. So I already told you that because of the disputes between the confederations, the Peshwa Bajirao II, he went towards Britishers and asked them for help. Britishers were so clever that the first thing they did was to sign the subsidiary alliance with the Peshwa. And as soon as the Peshwa signed this subsidiary alliance, this suicidal treaty with the Britishers, so they intervened into the matters of the Maratha and they controlled each and every confederation one by defeating them. And that became one of the reasons that where Peshwa wanted to create his own power, but he became a puppet of Britishers at that time. Then Shivaji was really constructive genius and nation builder. He rise from Jagirdar to Chhatrapati was spectacular, and he united the Marathas while being a major foe of the Mughal Empire. He was a courageous soldier and an astute administrator. Following his reign, infighting and discord among the Maratha Confederacy became a key cause of their demise. So basically, if we talk about Shivaji Maharaj, so his ideology of Swaraj, and that is became one of the reasons that why he did not stop of being only a Jagirdar, but he went to become a Chhatrapati. And that is how he particularly controlled all these things. And he was as well as he was a courageous soldier and an astute administrator, because of which he was able to take the control of all these things. So that all happened during Shivaji Maharaj's time. Now let's read further. Important books of medieval period. So let's now read about some of the very important books from which we come to know about this time or this age. So first one is by Hassan Nizami, and he wrote Tajul Masir, and one was Minaz us Siraz. He wrote Tabaqate Nasiri. So remember, these two books are the starting of the medieval history and the starting of the Gauri time and the Delhi Sultanate time. Then comes Ziauddin Barani. He was the one who wrote Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi and Fatwa-e Jahandari. And during this time, Firoz Shah Tughlaq himself also wrote Futuhat-e-Firoz Shahi. So that also became one of the reasons that we come to know about medieval history. Then Babur. Babur was basically the one who wrote Tujuke-Babri and Diwan and Risal-e-Usaz. Then Gulbadan Begum, she particularly wrote Humayun Nama, that is the biography of Humayun. Then Abul Fazl, very important one, he wrote Akbar Nama, the biography of Akbar, and Ain Akbari. That book tells about administrative system of Akbar. Then Jahangir, he was the one who wrote Tujuke Jahangiri. Remember, Tujuke Jahangiri and all these books are basically written in Persian language. Whereas Tujuke Babri, Babur wrote this book himself, was written in Chagtai Turkish, but was translated by Abdul Rahim Khane Khana into Persian. Then comes the Amir Khusro. Amir Khusro was the one who wrote Deval Rani Khizr Khan, Nuhe Sipehar, and Khajain ul Fatuh. So these are also some of the books which tells us about the time of that era. Then Al-Baruni was the first Muslim scholar who became the first Muslim scholar who wrote or who read the Sanskrit Vedas, and he wrote Tahqiq-e Hind. Okay, that is one of the most important book written by him. Along with him also came another writers in the time of Ghazni. Then comes Ibn Battuta. Ibn Battuta wrote Rehla. That is a kind of a chronicles of his travel all around the world and especially in India. And then comes the Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq wrote Futuhat-e-Firoz Shahi, I already told you. Then Isami wrote Futuh us Salatin. Then Yahya bin Sirhindi, he wrote Tariq-e-Mubarak Shahi. So these are some of the very important books written during that medieval time. Let's read further. Abbas Khan Shekhani, he wrote Tariq-e-Sher Shahi. Very important. This is basically a book that tells us about Sher Shah Suri. So it was written by Abbas Khan Shekhani. Then Ishwar Das Nagar, he wrote Futuhat-e-Alamgiri. Alamgir was the name given to Aurangzeb. I hope you remember. Then Ahmad Yadgar was the one who wrote Tariq-e-Salatin-e-Afghan. Then Abdullah wrote Tariq-e-Daudi. Then Mir Muhammad Masoom wrote Tariq-e-Sindh. Al-Utbi wrote Tariq-e-Yamini. Then Taimur basically wrote Malfuzat-e-Taimuri. Then Ali Yazdi wrote Zafarnama. Muhammad Ali Kufi wrote Chachnama. Very important. The book in which the first attack of Muhammad bin Qasim has been discussed. Then Firdausi. Firdausi was the one who came along with Al-Baruni, and he wrote Shahanama. Shahanama tells us the chronicles of Mahmud Ghazni. Then Mir Hassan Dehlvi, he wrote Fawaid ul Fawad. So these are some of other books. Let's read further. Some other books as well. So Mirza Haider wrote Tariq-e-Rashidi. Nizamuddin Ahmad wrote Tabaqat-e-Akbari. Then Khafi Khan wrote Muntakhab ul Lubab. Then Bhim Sen wrote Nuskah-e-Dilkhusa. Then Dara Shikoh, basically he wrote Sire Akbar, and very important book this is, Sire Akbar. Then Yoga Vasist, then Safent al-Awliya and Shakinat al-Awliya. Then Abul Fazl, he wrote Razanama. Basically Razanama, remember one thing, that Razanama is a translation of Mahabharata in Persian. So the Abul Fazl was the one who translated it. Then Mutamid Khan, he wrote Iqbal Nama. Then Ganga Devi wrote Madurai Victory. And Madhav Vacharya wrote Narkas Sur Vijay. Then Krishna Deva Rai. Cut. Then Krishna Deva Rai, he wrote Amukta Malyada. Then Lakshmi Dhara, she particularly wrote Saundarya Lahari. Then Tenli Ramakrishna, he wrote particularly Pandurang Mahatmya. Then Srinath wrote Hara Villa Samu. Jagannath Pandit wrote Gangal Hari. Then Maharana Kumbha basically wrote Sangeet Ratnakar and Sangeet Mimamsa. Further, some other books. So Mirza Haider basically wrote Tariq-e-Rashidi. Bhanu Dutt wrote Rasta Rangini. Jai Singh Suri wrote Hamir Mardan. Tulsidas wrote, very important this one, Tulsidas wrote Vinay Patrika, Ramcharitramanas, really important, and Barwai Ramayana. Then Surdas basically wrote Sur Sagar, Nal Damayanti. Kabir wrote Sakhi, Bijak, Rekhta, Gyan Sagar. Malik Muhammad Jaisi, very important, wrote Padmavat, and it was written during the time of Sher Shah Suri. Maluk Das wrote Chitravali. Jagnik wrote Allah Khand. Narpati Nala wrote Bisal Dev Raso. Sant Dhanyaneshwar wrote Dhanyaneshwari, and Samarth Ramdas wrote Das Bodh. Some important monuments of medieval era. So we all know Agra Fort. Agra Fort was basically founded by Mughal Emperor Akbar. But if I tell you the history about it also, so the base or the foundation was started by Tomar dynasty. Remember that. And but if someone asks you that in present situation of Agra Fort was created by, so that was created by Akbar. And it is, you can find it in Agra, Uttar Pradesh. Then comes the Red Fort. So Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, Delhi. Shah Jahanabad was the city he created. Then Taj Mahal, again Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, Agra, Uttar Pradesh. Then Konark Sun Temple, very important, and it was built by Narsim Dev first. Eastern Ganga dynasty, Konark, Odisha. I hope you remember that the temple, that is the Kailash temple of Maharashtra, and it was built by Krishna I of Rashtrakuta. Then come Fatehpur Sikri, the Mughal Emperor Akbar created this city, that is Agra. Bibi ka Maqbara, very important. Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb created it, and it was the kind of a tomb that was created for his wife, and though it was created by his son, not by him also. And that was created in Aurangabad, Maharashtra. It is also known as the Black Taj Mahal. Then Jama Masjid basically was created by Shah Jahan, and it is in Delhi. Then Mehrangarh Fort, that was created by Rao Jodha and Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Then Taj Mahal was built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, we all know, and that was in Agra, Uttar Pradesh. Some other also. So Qutub Minar was built by Qutubuddin Aibak, that is in Delhi. Then Makkah Masjid, and it was built by Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah, Hyderabad, Telangana. Then Hawa Mahal, Maharaja Savai Pratap Singh, Jaipur, Rajasthan. Moti Masjid, very important, Hawa Mahal, remember that. Then Moti Masjid was basically built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, Agra, Uttar Pradesh. And Moti Masjid of Delhi. Remember, these are two Moti Masjids. Always remember them. This can create confusion for you. So Moti Masjid of Agra was built by Shah Jahan, that you can find in the Red Fort of Agra, sorry, the Taj Mahal of Agra. And Moti Masjid of Delhi, that you will find in the Red Fort, was built by Aurangzeb. Okay. Then Humayun's tomb was basically built by Humayun's wife, Empress Begum, that is in Delhi. And after that, Charminar. Charminar was basically built by Quli Qutub Shah, that is in Hyderabad, Telangana. Elephanta Caves, not exactly known that who particularly built it, but particularly we know that it is dedicated to Buddhism as well as Hinduism. And if we talk about it, so it was basically created in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Then Bada Imam Bada, If we talk about Bada Imambara, so it was built by Asaf Uddaula, that is in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Then if we talk about Dilwara temple, so Vastupal Tejpal, so he created it in Mount Abu, Rajasthan. Then Gateway of India, George Whitted, and that was basically built in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Let's read more on this one. So another one is the India Gate, and India Gate, if we talk about, was basically built by Edwin Lutyens, and that is in Delhi. And also remember that Delhi was also built by Edwin Lutyens. Then Jantar Mantar was basically built by Maharaja Jai Singh, and that is in Delhi. Then Purana Killa or Old Fort was built by Sher Shah Suri, that is in Delhi. Golden Temple by Guru Ramdas, and it was a Sikh Guru, and it was created in Amritsar and Punjab. Group of Hampi monuments, Vijayanagar Empire, Hampi, Karnataka. Then comes some other important one-liners that we need to learn and revise. So Harshvardhan started the organization of Kumbh Fair at Allahabad. Remember, this point is very important as this question can be asked in the upcoming exams. Harshvardhan was the king of Vardhan dynasty, and if we talk about him, so he remained the king till 647 AD. During Dhananand's reign, Alexander invaded India from 327 to 325 BCE. So basically, do remember Dhananand was the particular king of Magad, and he was the one who ruled the Nand dynasty. He was later defeated by Chanakya and Chandragupta Maurya. Then the Battle of Hydaspes was fought in 326 BC between Alexander the Great and King Porus of the Paurva kingdom region between Jhelum and Byas. And this is also known as the Battle of Jhelum, and this was fought in 326 BC. This battle was basically a kind of a battle in which Alexander was won, but he returned all the territory back to Porus. Then the best known of the Kushans was Kanishk, who was an ardent follower of Mahayan form of Buddhism. Gandhar art developed during his period. So if we talk about Kanishk, so Kanishk was also remembered for many other important things, like the fourth council of Buddhism was also held under him. The Mahayan and Hinyan were the two sects were created under him. And he was the follower of Mahayan. That is why a lot of idol worshipping and idol creations were creating was started. Because of which he created two school of arts that were Gandhar school of art and Mathura school of art. So these were the two created at that time. Sak era was founded by Kanishk, the emperor of Kushan Empire from the year 78 AD. Remember this is really important. So Sak era was started by Kanishk, and it was started from 78 AD. Then Upanishads are the book on philosophy. Basically, Upanishad come from a word called Upan plus Ishad, in which with the meaning of which is the students, they learn from their gurus and they write these particular things. So that is called Upanishad. So Upanishads are basically written by the students who learned about Vedas from their gurus. Then Kanishk was the first Indian ruler who had territory outside India, because he was also the one who controlled the Silk Route. Remember that. The capital of the early Chalukyas was Badami, and Chalukyas were the one who defeated Harshvardhan. Then comes the Lokeshwara temple at Patadkal in Karnataka, built by Chalukya king Vikram Aditya II to commemorate his victory over the Palwas. So that is another thing built by Chalukya king Vikramaditya. Let's read more. So Nanda dynasty was ruling at the time of Alexander invasion, and they were particularly ruling in the Magad Empire. And Maurya period from 322 BC to 185 BCE. This was the time for which Maurya period was particularly ruling. And the one person who created this Maurya Empire was Chandragupta Maurya. Then Chandragupta was succeeded by his son Bindusar, and Bindusar was the particular person who controlled the empire and also the one who expanded the empire towards south. And he was also famous for two more things, that he took the control of the area between Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. And other than that, he also was the one who adopted the Ajivak sect of Jainism. So remember that point also. Then comes Bahmani dynasty, that was from 1347 to 1527, founded by Alauddin Hasan Bahman Shah, who was also known as Hasan Gangu. So this was the time when Tughlaq Empire or Tughlaq dynasty was going through a bad phase, and because of which Vijayanagar Empire and Bahmani Empire were created. The capital of Bahmani kingdom was Gulbarga from 1347 to 1425. It was moved to Bidar in 1420. Sung dynasty was from 185 BC to 73 BC, and they succeeded the Mauryan dynasty. Then Mohenjo-daro is a prominent Harappan site being surrounded by flood barriers in order to protect it with the aid of UNESCO funds. Samudragupta organized Ashwamedh Yagna in Gupta period, and that was basically done in the Samudragupta time. And if we talk about Samudragupta, so he was basically also known as the Napoleon of India. Then Mir Zafar betrayed Siraj-ud-Daulah in the Battle of Plassey in 1757, and later he was also replaced by Mir Qasim after British intervention. Guru Nanak founded Sikh religions, and his teaching composed in Adi Granth. So Guru Nanak was the first Sikh Guru of the Sikh religion. Then Guru Ramdas was the founder of Amritsar. Do remember all these things. Let's read further. Harihar and Bukka is the founder of the Vijayanagar Empire in 1336 AD on the southern bank of Tungabhadra. So Harihar and Bukka, they started the Vijayanagar Empire in that era where the Tughlaqs started facing a bad phase. So at that time, they created the Vijayanagar Empire, and they lasted till 1565. The Vijayanagar Empire lasted till 1565. Then Hampi is the capital city of Vijayanagar Empire, and one of the most important place of those times, and the most important place in terms of revenue as well. Krishnadevaraya from the Tuluva dynasty was the most famous king of the Vijayanagar Empire. In his reign, Tenali Ram was also there. Vikramshila University was founded by Pala King Dharampal. Remember that, and it was you can find this university, the ruins of this university in Bhagalpur, Bihar these days. Mihir Bhoj was the ruler of Gurjar Pratihar dynasty, the period between 836 to 885 AD. He was the king of Gurjar Pratihar dynasty. The period between 1206 AD and 1526 AD in India's history is known as Delhi Sultanate period. And in between that, 5 dynasties ruled in Delhi Sultanate. Kingdoms of Delhi Sultanate are as follows. First is the Slave Dynasty, 1206 to 1290. Then Khilji Dynasty, 1290 to 1320. Tughlaq Dynasty, 1320 to 1414. Sayyid Dynasty, 1414 to 1451. Lodi Dynasty, 1451 to 1526. Babur entered India in 1526 and defeated Ibrahim Lodi at the First Battle of Panipat in 1526. Babur was the first Mughal emperor in India. Let's read more. The leader of the Bhakti movement focusing on Lord Rama was Ramanand. The Red Fort of Delhi was constructed during the reign of Shah Jahan and Shah Jahanabad also. 1799, Savai Pratap Singh constructed Hawa Mahal in Jaipur. Guru Arjan Dev was the 5th Sikh Guru, and he was also the one who was killed by Jahangir. Chinese traveler Huenzang traveled during the reign of Harshvardhan in 7th century, and Fayang came during the time of Chandragupta II. Indian Mughal paintings originated during the rule of Mughal Emperor Humayun and at peak during the time of Jahangir. And during Jahangir's time, the paintings were basically focused on nature and birds. Humayun's tomb is located in Delhi. During the Mughal period, the official and court language was Persian. Gol Gumbaz was designed by Yaqut of Dabul. Shah Jahan was imprisoned for the rest of his life by Aurangzeb in the year 1658, and basically he was imprisoned in the Red Fort of Agra. Buddha, Dham and Sangh together are known as Tri Ratna, and they are associated with the Buddhism. Pulkeshin II was the greatest ruler of the Palwas of Kanchi. The Uttara Merur inscription provides information on the administration of the Cholas. Further, the founder of the Lodi dynasty was Bahlol Lodi. Iltutmish was the first ruler to issue pure Arabic coins in India, and he was the first person who founded the Delhi Sultanate, was the real founder of Delhi Sultanate. Kamrup is an ancient name of Karnataka. Akbar introduced Mansabdari system in India in the year 1571. Battle of Talikota led to the downfall of the Vijayanagar Empire. Harshvardhan shifted his capital from Thaneshwar to Kannauj because he was the one who was taking the control of the whole northern empire in India, and he was the last Hindu emperor in India. Rana Kumbha has built the Vijayastham Tower of Victory in Chittorgarh, and Shahnama was written by Firdausi, and he came along with Mahmud Ghazni. And that's it in this session, guys. I hope you learned a lot of things with me in this session and gained great knowledge. I will meet you in the next session in which we will see each other talking about history more. And till the time we meet, bye bye. Take care, everyone, and see you soon.